very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lorne, and in our news, the search intensifies for 2 missing visitors. The government asks to delay the introduction of penalties for breaches of the Data Protection Bill. The authorities prepare for another battle with Sargassum seaweed. And in sports, Pakistan are still alive and kicking at cricket's World Cup as they stun the former leaders, New Zealand.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
And in our top story tonight, we begin with that story, of course, with those 2 missing visitors. And the search is intensifying as we speak. Who went missing, for those visitors who went missing since Monday, 32-year-old Oscar Suarez and 25-year-old Magdalena DeVille were staying at room 49 Discovery Bay Hotel at Trent's in St. James. They arrived in Barbados last Saturday from the U.S. and are scheduled to leave this coming Saturday, but around 2:34 on Monday afternoon, they rented a jet ski from an operator at Old Town Beach and proceeded out to sea. At the time, they were both wearing life jackets. Then about 20 minutes later, after they did not return, the operator became worried and contacted other operators in the area to carry out a search, but they were not sighted. Now, the matter was reported to the police. A check with the management of the Discovery Bay Hotel was made, and it revealed that neither guest had returned to the hotel. Our Ryan Broom joins us live now with an update. Good evening to you, Ryan.
Good evening, Lisa. Good evening, viewers. Well, representatives of the police, Coast Guard, Regional Security System, tourism, and relatives of the missing visitors attended a massive press conference at the police headquarters this afternoon. Now, Magdalena's father, Antoine DeVille, and her cousin, Eric Pierre, Oscar's mother, Anita Urita, and his sister, Susanna Cruz, were present. Deputy Police Commissioner Erwin Boyce described the situation as unfortunate.
We were informed in the report that they had rented a jet ski from an Neil Abbey, who is a jet ski owner who is also a jet ski operator on the West Coast at the Old Town Beach. And they had rented it for 30 minutes, for a 30-minute ride. After the 30 minutes had expired, the operator of the jet ski recognized that they had not returned, and he decided to make some inquiries. And the inquiries did not reveal any information that suggests that they had returned to shore.
Now, members of the Coast Guard are also involved in this search, and Lieutenant Commander Ryan Aline gave an overview of the search area.
The search stretched as far west as 25 nautical miles west-northwest, in trying to do a sweep to see if we can see either the jet ski or the 2 persons. Up to that time, we came up empty-handed, unfortunately. With that, we rendered or asked for some assistance from the Regional Security System, from the Air Wing, and they then flew also in the area of Old Town and approximately 25 nautical miles west of Barbados. Actually, drift would indicate that the persons would be drifting in a northwesterly direction.
And officials of the Regional Security System Air Wing also spoke about their aerial search, spanning as far as St. Vincent and St. Lucia. Now, officials in neighboring territories have also been notified. We're also hearing that a private airline owned by businessman Busy Williams will also join the search. And local fisherfolk have also offered to lend their assistance, and vessels entering the Bridgetown port are also on the lookout. Now, Lisa, in some related news to this story, we also visited the Discovery Bay Hotel where the 2 visitors were staying today. We spoke to visitors Paul and Louise Bolton. The couple from Essex, England, told us they saw the pair shortly before they went missing.
They were here, we saw them just drinking at the bar a couple of times, keeping themselves to themselves. They were just over at the bar while we were on the beach, and this particular day They were on the beach a couple of umbrellas down from us, and really you don't take really much notice as you're going around about your day, but the Coast Guards arrived at about, I think, 5 o'clock, and at that point I think they'd been missing for a couple of hours. And up until then we didn't even know there was a situation going on.
Now, Mr. and Mrs. Bolton were married in Barbados in 1998 and have been coming to the island regularly since then. They say the incident will not stop them from returning.
We'll be back, yeah, definitely. It won't stop us from coming back. The kids,
I may have
the
to
people
go out on the jet ski with my son next time he goes out, but
yeah.
I think it's a one-off, surely.
So, Lisa, just some of the feedback following the disappearance of these two visitors. And of course, as we heard earlier, a massive response has been ongoing to locate them. And of course, we will be keeping you and viewers up to date on any new developments. It's back to you, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Well, an appeal for government to delay the introduction of penalties for individuals or companies found in breach of the Data Protection Bill. Founder of Bajan Digital Creations, Inc., Antonio Hollinsworth, says the public still needs to be educated about the proposed legislation. Now, individuals or companies found in breach of the law could face a maximum fine of $500,000 or 3 years in prison.
And others, the government should delay the implementation of penalties until the public is fully aware of and sensitized to the importance of data protection and the inherent responsibilities of a data controller. For your consideration, a suggested period of 3 years to prepare before penalties are incurred, and that penalties be scaled to be commensurate with the revenue of the data controller or the data processor.
And in response, Sean Bell, the senior parliamentary counsel who worked on that bill, explained that the penalty imposed is actually at the judge's discretion.
When you see $500,000 and then 3 years in prison, that is the maximum that the judge can impose for the particular offense that is identified. However, the judge would have discretion to impose zero or no penalty to the maximum threshold that is set out in the legislation.
Well, young Barbadians interested in pursuing an undergraduate or postgraduate degree in art therapy now have an opportunity to do so. According to Acting Minister of Education, Senator Lucille Moe, the subject has been added to the list of 2019 National Development Scholarships. Now, for successful applicants, the government will cover tuition fees, airline tickets for the start and completion of studies, as well as a living allowance.
We want to continually leverage the arts and the use of them to literally and figuratively transform the face of our educational system. Our commitment has even extended to the approval of the discipline of art therapy as one of the areas in which Barbadians can receive the prestigious National Development Scholarship.
And Senator Moe was speaking during an awards ceremony for teachers and students involved in the Living Art Wall Mural project. The project involved a dozen students from a number of secondary schools working together to create a mural at the Ministry of Education's Constitution Road site. Ramona Jones of the Combermere School spoke about the experience.
Despite having to give our weekends, evenings, and missing school, this mural helped us to create memories that we shall forever carry through our lives, like having to struggle to carry those big, heavy cement slabs, teasing Ashan about how ugly the fingers he painted were, and falling asleep during breaks, which I must admit I'm a tad bit guilty of. This process also helped the shy among us to better their communication skills and the disorganized to practice time management.
Head of the Department for Art at the Lodge School, Jean Prescott-Bullen, says based on feedback she has received, the project is a resounding success. And the annual battle against the large influx of Sargassum seaweed on this island's coastlines has already started, and Minister of the Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Kirk Humphrey has been revealing some of the additional measures the government has taken to tackle that situation.
When we won, there was no plan really. We came up with a plan to tackle the sargassum. This Labour Party government. Then I saw the same plan being echoed now by different agencies. I saw the UN got a piece of it on their little pamphlet they did, what Barbados has done. I see all the countries now sending to Barbados, want to know what it is that we've done. We didn't get a raise in money, but we were able to purchase, and you'll soon see the government of Barbados has bought what they call a seaweed harvester. It is a boat. You normally see them on Facebook. That would take the sargassum directly off of the water. We also acquired a conveyor belt and another truck to then move the sargassum safely straight off the water onto the truck so that it doesn't come into contact with the sand. We were only in office for a year.
Minister Humphrey made the comments during a recent Barbados Labour Party Christchurch East Branch meeting. He thanked the NCC workers and the Barbados Defence Force for their continued efforts in helping to keep the island's beaches clear of the seaweed, and has encouraged Barbadians who are willing to help to continue to play their part when they can.
We're now busy doing the beautification program, so we don't have them the way we did last year. The soldiers who are helping us, a lot of them now are working with the Attorney General, doing the patrolling with the police in certain areas. So we don't have as much soldiers as we used to have. So we have less people and more sargassum.
Meantime, the 2018-2019 fishing season has not been very lucrative for local fisherfolk. President of the Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations, or Barnufo, Vernell Nichols, gave the update as she spoke in the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex. She said that several factors, including that sargassum seaweed, affected the catches.
The fishing season started around October last year, and it has been up and down, but more down than up. Of course, it would have been a great impact on the livelihood of many fisherfolk, because our main fishery, which is the flying fish fishery, we really didn't get a good season of that. The amberfish, as everybody knows, the amberfish usually comes at this time, especially with the sargassum. So the amberfish has been a buffer. And we had a few dolphins too, so those have been the buffer to the drop-off of the flying fish.
Regional stories now, and first in Guyana, where retired Justice James Patterson has tendered his resignation from the post of chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission. And this followed the Caribbean Court of Justice ruling on June 18th that his appointment was unconstitutional.
The Minister of the Presidency, in a statement released on Tuesday, said President David Granger met with former chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, Justice retired James Patterson, who has since demitted office. The President thanked Justice Patterson for his service over the past 20 months. Justice Patterson was appointed as GECOM chair in October 2017. The former GECOM chair resigned on Monday, June 24, thereby rendering the post vacant. The decision by the former GECOM chair to demit office is in keeping with the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, that his appointment was flawed and thereby unconstitutional. The government reiterates its acceptance of the CCJ ruling in the case of Zulfikar Mustafa versus the Attorney General of Guyana on the appointment of the GECOM chairman. It is anticipated that the appointment of a new chairman will be discussed when the head of state meets opposition leader Bart Jangdio later this week.
Jamaica has vowed to examine and close any loopholes or gaps that exist as it relates to the shipbuilder agreement with the USA. Minister of Foreign Affairs Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith gave that commitment after 4 of 5 fishermen detained by the U.S. Coast Guard filed a lawsuit claiming inhumane treatment. We have a report from CVM TV.
Having been called a liar and a sellout by opposition senators, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith used the occasion of a press briefing to clarify the government's handling of the 5 fishermen who have accused the United States Coast Guard of detaining them at sea for more than a month in inhumane conditions. The minister explained the government's decision to waive jurisdiction over the 5 fishermen.
The case brought by 4 Jamaican men against the United States Coast Guard alleging mistreatment over a 30-day period while in their custody represents a significant juncture in the implementation of the shipwright agreement. Without expressing any views on the ACLU case itself, given the concerns raised, however, and noting that the related detention is the 3rd case in which a waiver of jurisdiction has been granted since the amendment was passed in January 2016.
Senator Johnson Smith was clear that the waiving of jurisdiction should not have impacted their human rights.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs received and transmitted the formal requests and grant of waiver. The waiver was granted subject to conditions laid down by the government of Jamaica, including confirmation of the good health of the men, assurance that they would be made aware of their right to consular assistance, and assurance that they would be provided with legal representation in any criminal prosecution.
Over in Dominica now, disaster management legislation is to be introduced later this year. We get more in this report from Marpin TV.
That announcement was made by Minister for Climate Resilience and the Environment, Joseph Isaac. Isaac was speaking at the closing ceremony of the Support Emergency Preparedness through Emergency Shelter Project, which was executed by the International Organization for Migration, IOM, and funded by USAID. The minister says the resilient rebuilding efforts are to help Dominica become the first climate-resilient nation in the world.
Therefore, to that point, I would like to say that your government, this government, remains committed to ensuring that the legislation which deals with disaster management will be enacted this year. We are on the path to doing it. We are almost ready. But this is one of our policy initiatives to support all the work that IOM is doing and to put it actually in legislation which would encapsulate all the processes involved and the work that you have done in regards to training and put it in legislation so that people can know what we need to do by law.
Improved and well-equipped emergency shelters have been deemed key to disaster risk mitigation.